I was scammed. Moving to Joburg, I was obviously looking for a place. I could not live at family and friends forever. Like, no. You're probably wondering, did she even lose any cash in this scam? Yes, I did. 6,000 rand. I'm not even smiling about it. The reason I'm like, yes, it's just because I can't believe it. Like, I actually can't believe it happened to me. But I mean, that's exactly what happens with scams and fraudsters. Us, the people who are thinking, we got this, scam. Yeah, it happens to us. It happens to the best of. In fact, it happens to anybody. Okay, so clever Yolanda decided to look on all property platforms. You know, I'm looking for an apartment, and I got in touch with this chickie. We decided we'll share this place. Got the perfect place. Okay, it was beautiful, at least on the net. The pictures, yeah, already that's like flag number 1. Okay, but let's get into the story and you'll figure out how I eventually, you know, realized that this is a scam. So I hope this video will be helpful enough for you to recognize and identify, you know, the what to look out for in scam emails, calls, and transactions. Okay, so it started off on a sunny morning in January 2016, 27th to be exact. Yeah, that was the day. And we found the perfect place, myself and this chickie, and we thought, yes, you know, this is it, man. If it's a bit too perfect and the transaction is very smooth, be aware. So we basically contacted this lady who put up an ad for a, I think it was Pandoring Place. This place was in 334 Kent Avenue. I will never forget this. Okay. Anyway, she advertised this, it could have been him too, I don't even know anymore, but she personified a woman. If I can find you, Tola, Elizabeth McLaren, whatever, the way I feel about you. Anyway, this is now communicating via email. She's responding within minutes. I'm just like, damn. I mean, is this the only thing you're doing the whole day? But yeah, sure, go ahead, because I'm liking your service. So anyway, she screens our application forms. You know, we send in our bank statements, ID copies, proof of employment, the works, right? And then again, within minutes, she responds with, your application was approved. Now this is myself and this chickie that I was going to be moving in with. That's a bit too quick to be getting a response, but anyway, again, I was just like, hallelujah, thank the Lord. Sometimes, you know, these things that we think are miracles are not miracles. You just have to be careful. Went back to the mail and I saw her email was asking for a proof of employment or ID or 3-month bank statement. I was like, you know, in English, generally that means the or part means one of whatever they're asking for, right? So you can either literally just send a proof of employment and that's all she needs. Something fishy there, okay? Again, I just brushed it off. I was like, okay, this was approved. And then forward me, I emailed her, okay, what happens now? She's like, well, there's another tenant, prospective tenant that's really keen and they've promised to pay deposit tonight. So I was like, okay, well, can we view today if that's possible? And she was like, yeah, sure, here's the tenant's number, call him, go and view. We call the tenant Glenn. I'm giving you these names so that if you are moving to Joburg and you run into a Glenn or an Elizabeth McLaren or Laren, whatever the surname is, it's just dodgy and fishy. And the picture that they put up was a white lady with brunette long hair, brown eyes, I think, if I remember correctly. So we called Glenn. Glenn, hey Glenn, hi Fonini. He's all up on some, no, I'm not home tonight. I'll be home on Friday night. This is a Wednesday evening, the 27th of January. I don't want to go view. So Glenn is not available. We can't go view. Okay, what now? Elizabeth on her side is pushing for us to, you know, either pay some sort of deposit to secure the place, or we forfeit it because this other couple is obviously going to get the place if we don't budge. Oh goodness, I happen to have the cash. I basically pay the full 6,100 rand and we secure the place. She sends us details about, oh okay, well here you guys go, this is your place now, and you guys can go and view whenever. If when Glenn is available, you know, you guys can just go and push it. Sunday you guys can move in because the current tenants are actually moving out on Saturday, something like that. Whew. We keep calling, trying Glenn. Glenn is available, not available, available. When he is available, it's like working hours or times that we are not available, something like that, right? Call him, he's not available again, but he says he will be there and he'll be out by 10 a.m. on Sunday. That's obviously either the last day of Jan. I think it was the last day of Jan. Yeah. Friday night, I get a text from Elizabeth asking if I can pay the rent forward, you know. So obviously we paid our deposit and now she's asking for 4,000 rand for the geyser. She needs to fix up the geyser before we move in and she wants to do it on Saturday. I call this chickie, my prospective roomie, and I'm just like, this lady is asking for 4 grand. And both of us, all of a sudden on the phone, we're just like, wait, this doesn't sound right. Hold up. You cannot ask. We just gave you 6 grand, right? We're gonna pay rent on Monday, the 1st of February. Why would you ask it beforehand? Like, that doesn't make sense. Use up the money that we gave you if you don't have money, you know? Anyway, that's not gonna happen. So eventually I get back to her saying, we're only prepared to pay you the rent when we actually move in. Saturday comes, we're still communicating with Elizabeth. She sends me a lease agreement. I work in property, obviously, commercial property that is, so I have seen lease agreements. I've gone through lease agreements 1,000 times, and the first page already is just like, huh? Gibberish. This lease agreement is probably a template of a lease agreement that she found on Google. She sends it to me, and again, that's red flags, but I'm just like, maybe it's because she doesn't know property and she is a private owner, and most of the time private owners don't know how these things work. And I don't know how long Glenn has been there, but it could be ever since she actually bought the place. So I give her the benefit of the doubt because she's been communicating with me for so long. And you know, when somebody is communicating, you're thinking they're alive, they're sane in their head, and they will not be. Sunday morning, first thing, so obviously this day moving in, I try and call Elizabeth. No answer. Phone is off. I try Glenn. No answer. Phone is off. I text my boyfriend first thing and I'm just like, I tried calling these people and they're not picking up the phone. In fact, it takes me straight to voicemail, both their cell phones. What the heck is going on? What if this is a scam? That's when it actually kicked in, like, because now I'm obviously playing all the events, I'm looking through that lease agreement, it's nonsense. I read the first email when she was explaining the application criteria, it is crap. And grammar, damn! No commas where commas belong. Now, I can be a red pen when I have to, but literally this is when I suppose they work on your desperation. I was desperate and I was looking for a place, and obviously I was just looking for somebody who's gonna give me that chance, you know, to finally get a place and live, so that on Monday, the 1st of February, I can go to work. What the heck, you know? They're not picking up their phones. My boyfriend meets me with my aunt at my sister's res, right? So we move Michelle, my little sister, we move her in, and all of a sudden, it just settles in my heart that this is a scam. There's absolutely no way somebody is expecting a tenant to move in and they're not even picking up their phone. But we decide to go through to the place because we know the place. So this chickie actually knows the apartment block. And I mean, that's all part of what comforted us, right? So we get there, there's no car, there's nobody who looks like they're waiting for us or expecting us. It's now outside the complex. My boyfriend decides to go to the security guard. So we park. He goes to the security guard. My aunt decided to leave as well, and she was just like, let me know if this is a scam or not, but let me go home, whatever. He gets to the security guards and they're just like, oh, unit man. Actually, you guys are not the first people to rock up here coming to view or to move in. There has been dozens of people coming here. It's a scam. There is no such landlord as Elizabeth McLaren. And there is no such tenant as Glenn. In fact, the body corporate has taken this up, you know, for investigation, and they've tried to look into the situation. They've alerted the police because it's a definite scam. But the pictures are from here. It's just nobody who actually, there's no such thing, like nothing and no one like that exists in this complex. He comes back in the car and I'm sitting there calmly thinking, what if this is a scam? What if this is a scam? And we're gonna come in and he says like, it's a scam. That moment when you don't know what to do besides swallow. So yeah, that's exactly what I did. What now? So fortunately I've got a very quick thinker of a man. He basically just made very quick calls and got me into another friend's place. The chickie that I was going to move in with, on the other hand, went to fetch her bed in Rustenburg. So I had to call her up and be like, girl, I'm about to slow your trip down. It ain't happening. This is a scam. What now? And then I was like, oh, by the way, you know, I paid the deposit, right? 6,000 rand. Now we both know this is a scam, but could you kindly, you know, out of courtesy and the goodness of your heart, give me my 3,000 rand back? And she was kind enough to do that. You know, she paid the 3,000 rand back. 4 months later, an investigator called me from Rosebank police station to apologize because they lost my docket. SAPS. Wow. So yeah, basically with all the whole frauding and scamming situation, the police had to lose my docket. However, that's not the whole point of this video. The point is I want you guys to not be caught in my situation and a situation similar to mine. So be very careful and be warned. From the very first email, in fact, search engines that you go through, whether it's Gumtree, Private Property, or even Property 24, there are people out there who play as landlords, tenants, and even real estate agents. Be very careful. And secondly, timing. They cannot respond very quickly with your application process. What I learned is that the system that they use to verify and do the whole credit checks thing should take a day and a half. So yeah guys, without rambling any further, thank you guys so much for watching. Give this video a thumbs up if you did enjoy it, and of course please comment below if you've got any more flags to watch out for. If you've been scammed before, I would also like to know. And if you've got a YouTube channel, please do a video. Of course, if you have been scammed, do a video response on this. I would also like to know what happened to you. It's always interesting to hear someone else's story and of course to learn from that. And then lastly, please do subscribe if you already haven't. I love you guys so much. Mwah.